Accordion Joe is a Betty Boop and Bimbo cartoon that was actually recently only found for the first time. It was a missing cartoon, and it's always interesting when a lost cartoon resurfaces because the big question is, did we miss out on something for all of those years that it was missing? And the answer to that with this one is not really. It's a little bit awkward. This is, of course, a Fleischer cartoon from 1930. It's directed by Dave Fleischer and Grim Natwick. And we have a voice cast including Billy Murray as Bimbo and Margie Hines as Betty Boop. Betty Boop, in this cartoon, it's a very early version of Betty. And she actually plays a Native American girl. And for about a minute and a half, Bimbo is in an airplane playing his accordion. It goes on for way longer than it needs to do, but the animation itself is actually quite nice. And there will be spoilers from now as I say what happens in the rest of the cartoon. I won't go into a tremendous amount of detail, but it will give some things away. And after about a minute and a half, Bimbo and his accordion fly down and he meets this Native American girl. And this is, of course, Betty Boop's character. And they have a sing-song. The lyrics in the song are maybe a little bit awkward, but the tune is quite nice. So I guess it could be worse, it could be better. And then we meet a lot of other Native American characters, and they are terrible. The depiction is just absolutely horrific and so awkward and uncomfortable. And I shouldn't be surprised, because it's a cartoon from the 1930s, and most cartoons in the 30s that depicted Native American characters were generally really awkward. There might be some exceptions, but unfortunately this is not one of them. It was not a pleasant experience, and the characters were just really uncomfortable to watch. Betty Boop's character was not too bad. I don't think the animation for her character was bad, or the way she presented herself, not too bad at all. But the majority of the rest of them, it's not great. So the first half of the cartoon is fine, and I was watching it thinking, actually, it's not too bad given the age of it. It's not that awkward. And then that quickly changed, and it became very predictable, and definitely worth watching if you're interested in how not to depict certain characters. So it's a cartoon of two halves, really. The first half, not so bad, not perfect, but it's okay. The second half is just utterly terrible, and I can't really recommend the second half of it. But from an animation history perspective, obviously it is really interesting. I think it's always interesting to see changes in animation styles over the years and changes with what was once considered appropriate, and where that's certainly not the case now. And that's always really interesting. So if you're looking for a fun, entertaining cartoon, Accordion Joe is not going to be it. But if you're interested in the historical aspect, then yes, I'd say check it out. And obviously with the fact that it's been found, I think, last year, then that in itself is quite interesting. But if I'd never seen this, I don't think it would have made that much of a difference to my life, to be perfectly honest. It's not great, but interesting. Maybe interesting for the wrong reasons, but if it sounds like it's something that you want to check out to see what it's like, give it a go. But if you're just looking for an entertaining cartoon, then there are many Betty Boop cartoons and Bimbo cartoons that I would recommend before Accordion Joe. The pacing isn't great at all. The characters, Bimbo and Betty Boop, are okay, and the rest of them, not great. The music, the lyrics a bit awkward, but the tune itself pretty decent. So it definitely feels like a cartoon of two halves in many different ways. Did I enjoy it? No. Am I pleased that it's been found? Yes, because I feel like losing a piece of history is never great, even if that history is awkward. It's more important to accept and acknowledge that we've moved on from this kind of thing, rather than just not being able to experience it at all. So, not a fun experience, but from a historical perspective, definitely an interesting one. Accordion Joe is not great, but in some cases, it might be worth checking out.